Jorma Vuoksenmaa, your claim of the day is that the away teams in the German derby matches in the Ruhr area are good bets on Colossus Bets. Why is that?
Yeah, even in general, the derbies are not priced up in a perfectly efficient way. The edge for betting the away sides is slight edge in fixed odds betting, even in England. You get very slim overprices, or at least you lose less by betting, in most cases, the away sides in like London derbies, right? And the same applies in the Ruhr area derbies in Germany. But I assume, and actually my experience with Colossus Bets has during these 5 years already shown that the Colossus Bets pools betting population does not take enough effect the derby situations in Ruhr. The warrior never underestimates his opponents, but I doubt if all Colossus Bets pools bettors know which are the teams in the Ruhr area, which are the derbies, and there the upsets for away wins are as biggest.
So, what are the teams then?
Well, there are so many, I have to concentrate. Borussia Dortmund, Bayer Leverkusen, Schalke 04, Borussia Mönchengladbach, 1. FC Köln und Fortuna Düsseldorf, my team.
Alright, so maybe we shall start with Dortmund.
Yeah, Dortmund of course is the best team in the area, very supported team. I'm pretty bad in sports trivia, but I believe the current stadium is still built up on the Westfalen Stadium, which was in its time established by Adolf Hitler. And the fan culture with Dortmund is still a bit fanatic. It looks really strong, the yellow wall there standing part of the stadium. And that might cause that Borussia Dortmund is not, when you compare the home win percentage and away win percentage, Borussia Dortmund might not be that strong in relation to their home games in their away games, right? So Dortmund is not necessarily the best team to explode my Ruhr derby theory. That being said, they are a good team. They are capable of improving from last year, but they have a lot to improve, and it might be the case that media has kind of overestimated their improvement potential. I was surprised pre-season when even good and experienced journalists had Dortmund so much before Red Bull Leipzig in their ratings. I considered Dortmund to be the second favorite after Bayern, but not with as clear marginal. And I'm not that Dortmund positive as the media and the market. The way yesterday's game against Bayern 4-0 kind of underlined that I might be right.
Okay, let's move on to the next one about Schalke.
Schalke 04, that is a team I was confused and unsure before the season started, and I still remain. I don't take too strong stand with Schalke. Pre-season, I expected them to improve. Wagner is a good coach. One can't do that much with Huddersfield Town, and to move to Schalke, you get different kind of budget. They pay well to their players. If you look at the market value of the Schalke players, it's a quality team as well. But there are some problems. Already last season, they had quite bad numbers, those deeper things we count, and even traditional Pythagoras numbers from goals didn't look that good, turned to the points. And the problem last year, they didn't score that much counter-attacking goals. And if we try to find a good Ruhr Derby away team, we want to see a team which is good in counter-attacking. So Schalke has not improved that much as we have expected, and even the market expected them to improve, and they still do. So I don't believe Schalke is that kind of good idea as one could believe before the season started. And even if they are kind of traditionally very supported team in the Ruhr area, they are not exactly the best team to try on those Ruhr derbies.
Then let's move on to Leverkusen.
That is again a tricky thing. Last year their defense was shaky, and we played ball control and they scored. And when Bosch took over in December, they were pretty good the rest of the season. But the start of this season has been strange because now they have not scored that freely, and their figures, expected goals, and those other indicators have not been that strong. So I sound like politicians, but I'm not that certain about Leverkusen either. When you compare the team to the market expectation, it's very easy to say that this team is good and that team is bad. But by doing so, we do not make any money in our betting. We must every time think how the team is relative to the expectations, to the bets, prices, risk-reward ratio. So Leverkusen has not been that good as I expected them to be, and they have been not that good as the market expected them to be. So I want to stay a bit neutral with Leverkusen.
All right, and let's finish with the teams of the last weekend's derby, Köln and Düsseldorf.
And don't forget Borussia Mönchengladbach. But let's take first Köln and Düsseldorf. One of my employers saw the match. In my company, European Sports Betting Consultants, of course we understand that to watch matches is impossible in that numbers and concentration, but one could nowadays build up anything on watching the games. But when we travel somewhere due to the rock concert or business or whatever, me and my people, we try to watch the games. And of course, when we work or have free time with our friends, we try to watch as much sports as possible and then take stands with the feelings. We get good, decent statistics, expected goals, everything from many good sources, right? So in most cases we trust on those which are free to use and pretty good. But when we see the match, we try to find that kind of things which those X-goal systems and algorithms and big data people do not find. So like that match between Düsseldorf and Köln, my employee said that his feelings were that Düsseldorf was in the beginning of the game slightly better. Then they scored 1-0, and now they could change to that their kind of strong part of the game, counter-attacking. And my employee mentioned that it could be the case that Köln had to be pretty careful not to attacking and pressing and trying to hold the ball too strongly, because Düsseldorf is a really good counter-attacking team. They are not a good team, but their strength is counter-attacking, which game theoretically caused probably Köln to be a bit more overcautious, and Köln's attempt to level the game was, according to my man, pretty kind of mild. So, and at the end of the game, still, when Köln had to try harder, Düsseldorf scored a counter-attacking goal, 2-0. What we can learn from the game is, I like the both teams. They are better than their numbers has shown so far, but Düsseldorf has exceeded their expectations and even X-goal numbers by far better. And now, we want to find a Ruhr Derby team which is very suitable to play as an away underdog. Fortuna Düsseldorf is. And they are well supported, and those supporters are really kind of, genuine and loyal. I'm a fan of Düsseldorf punk pop band Die Totenhosen, and the singer Cambino is such a Düsseldorf fan. He bought a Nigerian striker to the team on those days when Düsseldorf was in bad shape. And there are dozens of stories like that. Düsseldorf is very well supported. Those supporters make those easy trips to those other Ruhr areas. So, because I always want to give you, as my watcher, something which, is long-term plus for your betting. I believe that Fortuna Düsseldorf is a good bet in the Ruhr derbies. Köln, not too bad either, and they are now so low in the league table that they must be underestimated. So, of course, you don't win that many bets with Köln, but with Colossus Bets, some of those Köln surprises are kind of where you clean up the coupons. You win big if you get Köln in those games.
All right, so yeah, let's not forget Mönchengladbach. It's hard to pronounce, but anyway.
Yeah.
So what's your point?
There, we do that video the 10th of November, and things change fast, and the market changes its opinion even faster. So I might look silly if you watch this video in the winter time. During the Christmas holidays when Bundesliga is in its break. But 10th of November, I am negative towards Mönchengladbach because they have overachieved. They have allowed a lot of shots. They have allowed a lot of expected goals to their own net. They have been a bit lucky, to be kind of frank. And the market doesn't react to that kind of things, and I repeat, the typical Colossus Bets Finnish or British or African bettors don't react perhaps at all. They mainly look for league table. So I think there might be good value to go against Mönchengladbach, at least now, before the Christmas break.
Alright, and you really can't make a Bundesliga video without mentioning Bayern München. So how good are they?
Well, they are just as good as the Tottenhausen described in their great song Bayern. So what I mean is that, listen to the tune song. Anyway, they have the money to get completely superior team to the Bundesliga. They are much better than Dortmund or Leipzig. And they showed it yesterday when they smashed Dortmund 4-0. And believe it or not, the scoreline was pretty close to the expected goals. But Bayern improved. That didn't have that much to do with the manager change. Probably they were a bit unlucky at the start of the season. Quite often the good teams start the seasons lazy. So to put it short, we have made our money by betting against the favorites, but Bayern is not the favorite to bet against. Not fixed odds, not Asian handicaps, not even in Colossus Bets. You need occasionally a banker to the Colossus Bets coupons in order to have a good difficultness control, and Bayern could be kind of good banker week after week.